You know, it's April, and that means it is time once again to head back to my favorite place on the Nintendo Switch. That's right, we are going back to the Nintendo Switch eShop, and we are checking out 10 fantastic eShop hidden gems that you, yes you, should be checking out right now. What's going on, everybody? I'm Jay. Welcome to Square Pegs. I'm glad you're here. As always, thank you to publishers that have provided review codes. Be sure to check out and see if there are physical releases of these games if you are a physical collector. But for now, we are hopping into the eShop. We are looking at 10 amazing digital games that you can add to your library today. And we're kicking things off with a classic from Konami, featuring one of the all-time great cartoon characters.
One of the things that I really, really love about this game here, Felix the Cat, is that this gives you the opportunity to play two incredibly expensive games for the NES and the Game Boy at literally a fraction of the cost. Because these are both over $90 a piece to get them physically. So being able to play these digitally for under $30 is a huge win. And not only that, you're getting two incredible, actually three, because you're also getting the Famicom version. You're getting three incredible platformers that are some of the best platforming action released back on the NES and the Game Boy. It stars Felix, who is a wonderful character. The gameplay is amazing. It's just signature late NES gameplay, and I love it. This game is wonderful. Like I said, you're going to get three different versions of the game. You're going to get the Game Boy, the NES, and the Famicom release. You are going to be able to rewind and go back in the game if you run into a problem. So yeah, there's some really nice quality of life improvements added as well. And you're just getting some kick-ass games, which never hurts. Felix the Cat is $24.99. Kudzu is way, way, way too inexpensive for how good of a game it is. And I want to apologize for not showing a lot of really in-depth gameplay here. I really don't want to spoil the story. And honestly, my memory card got corrupted that I have my game saved on. So I was only able to get a little bit of footage at the start. But the gameplay itself is fantastic. What I was able to play before I started capturing the footage is amazing. You play as Max, and you are going to explore the Kudzu maze and go through this game in this classic Game Boy style. There's ruined fields, gardens, forests, and more in this amazing adventure that you're going to put yourself through. To play something like this that is such a loving tribute to the Game Boy, but stands firmly on its own 2 feet. And I want you to check out the card on screen right now, where my buddy John from Biddy Kong's Quest did an in-depth review of this game, because he's going to be able to say so much more, and honestly so much better than I have any ability to say, because of his amazing talent as a documentary filmmaker. But please do check it out. Kudzu is fantastic. It's dirt cheap, almost insultingly so. At $5, it's a $4.99 game. You need to be playing this one. And the 2024 award for Best Mega Man Game goes to Berserk Boy. I love Berserk Boy. This is the best Mega Man X game I've ever played. Now, I'm not a huge Mega Man X fan. I promise I'm going to give them their fair shake later this month. In fact, I'm actually going to be playing through all of them. But Berserk Boy does everything that Mega Man X ever set out to do, and does it so well. Now, yeah, we do have the advantage of being, 25, 30 years after the original Mega Man X released, but this game plays so incredibly well. It has such an incredible locomotion, beautiful animations, fantastic combat, a wonderful high challenge level that I just can't help but look at it and say, this is something that Capcom should have been making. This is such a wonderful spiritual descendant of classic Mega Man X gameplay, and it just works perfectly well. My friend Frank from the Super RPG Friends gushed about this game, and I didn't have a chance to play it until a couple weeks after its release, and I'm telling you, this game is just incredible. Berserk Boy is legitimately one of my favorite games of the year. It looks and sounds amazing, and for the fact that it's only a $20 title, that feels almost illegal to me because it's so incredibly cheap. If you have not played it, if you are a fan of Mega Man style platformers, you need Berserk Boy in your library.
I am the second daughter of the Tsubaki Koji family. No one taught me how to be patient.
The Rose and Camellia collection might be one of the...
However,
I got to word this carefully because
you must defeat me.
I have to say something that's going to sound like I'm being derogatory towards this game, but I'm telling you straight up, this is some of the most fun I've had playing a video game in years. But the Rose and Camellia collection might be one of the dumbest video games I've ever played. But like on a WarioWare level of dumb. This was described to me as a Japanese soap opera meets Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. And oh my God, is that accurate? You have some of the cheesiest storytelling, and it's deliciously cheesy. Like, this is the kind of storytelling that you want to be eating popcorn to, because what's going to happen next? Who's going to challenge whom? Who's going to slap next? The gameplay is straightforward, simple, and easy to understand. You use the Joy-Con to slap. You use the Joy-Con to dodge. You are able to go into slap rushes to beat the ever-living hell out of the people that you're fighting. It is legitimately, looking at it just, like bird's eye view, looking down at this game. It is a game where you play as someone who slaps the crap out of someone else. And it works so well. It works so incredibly well. I have had so much fun playing this game. My family enjoys watching me play this game because it's so ridiculous. And I just can't help but love it. Like, legitimately one of my favorite games that I have played so far this year. The Rose and Camellia collection is made by WayForward. It's normally $19.99. It's going to be on sale for $17.99 through the end of the month. And I'm telling you, you need this game in your life because it's just so absurdly ridiculous and so much fun.
To go against the grandmother.
One of the things that I really recognized over the last year when I got something like the Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp game in is that I really love tactical strategy games, in particular games where you're controlling a bunch of troops. Now, I love Fire Emblem, don't get me wrong, but Advance Wars was always number one for me. So when I saw Empire's Shell Fall, I was very curious because this felt like a love letter to Advance Wars, and 100% that's exactly what it is. This is a map-based tactical strategy game where you're going to be moving your troops around. As you get into combat situations, you're going to lose a number of troops that you have on the field. You're going to have to capture different areas and move your way around to defeat the other enemies. It's a spectacular game. It's really fun. If you have played an Advance Wars game in the past, or you've played something like Wargroove, you will understand exactly how this game plays. It looks fantastic. It plays wonderfully. And it's a sleeper hit for me. Like, this is something where it can be real easy to rely on tropes or to just make it a tribute, like go Tenacious D style and make it a tribute. But no, Empire Shall Fall really makes its mark. It's a fantastic game. And at $12.99, you really can't go wrong with this one. Crypt Stalker is a game that when I first saw it, I really had a lot of high expectations for it because it looks like a Castlevania game. And getting into game, it feels like a Castlevania game. The gameplay is very similar. You have both a whip and a firearm that you're able to use, and the enemies come at you just like they do in Castlevania. The levels feel very Castlevania, but nothing feels exactly like it. Doesn't feel like it's a ripoff. It feels like it's a loving tribute to Castlevania, and everything just works. The gameplay is very challenging and is very aggressive, not so much in the fact that you're swarmed with enemies or that you have incredibly difficult fights that you have to get through, but the level designs are very cleverly made that you need to make sure you're using the environmental puzzles and the environmental triggers to be able to get through the level successfully. Like this level that I'm in particular right here, there are blocks that you have to stand on that will raise or lower parts of the floor, and if you're getting a little bit frantic, you're going to get yourself squished, you're going to put yourself through spikes, something like that. This is a really clever game with some really good difficulty modes. There's also a lost sequel that they're calling, which includes 6 extra chapters. There's really great graphics. You can play both console and handheld version, which is really cool. I'm really impressed with this one. I had really high expectations, like I said, and it would have been really easy and forgivable, honestly, for this game to not meet those expectations because they were incredibly lofty. But Crypt Stalker nails it. And this game is dirt cheap. It's $6.99. A fantastic game that I think everyone should be playing. You know, frequently when a game tries to mash together too many genres, you can really fall flat on your face. Locke's Quest is a good example of that. It does way too much and doesn't do enough of it very well to make it a compelling experience to really want to go back to it. And I was worried that Savage Age was going to be very similar to it because the game claims that you're going to use a bunch of different gameplay styles, including survival, combat, base building, and tower defense, and immediately my red flags are going off. And I will be honest with you, there's definitely a little bit where it feels a little stretched too thin, but I really like the idea of being back in a time before civilization existed, so you can't rely on technology or anything like that. You have to build your tools and your bases. The puzzles in the different levels you go to are really well done. The combat is, once you get used to it, is actually really intuitive by being able to aim where you're going to throw your spear or you're going to throw a rock to trigger a switch or something like that. It actually works really well. It's a very different style game than I'm used to playing, but I'm telling you, I'm having a lot of fun with it. I actually think it's a really well-designed game. Savage Age isn't going to be for everybody, and if it's something where you look at it and go, no, not for me, I would warn you to not waste your money on it. But if you dig stuff that is going to kind of bend your brain a little bit and give you a few different options on how to get through different levels, I think you should check it out. Savage Age is $14.99, and I've been pretty impressed with it thus far. If you've been watching the channel for a while, you know I'm a fan of games like Ultima that have a particular combat style. Specifically a combat style from like the NES version of Ultima. I really enjoy the NES Ultima games. And to me, that's kind of what Rainbow Moon feels like. It's got a pretty slick sense of humor to it, and the gameplay is pretty solid. Now, this is 100% an RPG. You're going to be finding different characters to bring with you. I think there's like 6 playable characters that you're able to carry with you. And the game is like hella long. It's a 40-hour story, but with side quests it can go over 100 hours. And the combat to me feels like classic Ultima. You're able to move around the field, you're able to attack and use your abilities based on where you're at on the field to attack the different enemies that are near you. The game's just really fun. I really enjoy the story so far. I'm really impressed with just the overall design aesthetic of the game. I think it looks really good. I do want to warn you that the opening is very slow. You have to like sit through a cinematic, which kind of stinks, but the gameplay once you get past that is really, really solid. Rainbow Moon's a fun game. It's $14.99, and if you're looking for something that feels a little bit like a classic Ultima experience, you might want to check this one out. It might shock some folks that I'm not the biggest Contra fan. Like, it is not one of those signature memories of positivity I have from my time playing NES games as a kid. Quite the opposite. I found Contra to be incredibly frustrating. So when Operation Galuga got announced, I was very skeptical. But hope springs eternal because it was being developed by Way Forward, who I adore, who I think is just amazing. And they did Contra 4, which, you know, kind of kicks ass, so I was having some really high hopes for this game. And I'm so happy that this game lives up to every single expectation I could have had for it. First and foremost, it's a Way Forward game, so you know it's going to look and sound great. Not only are the music and sound effects excellent, the look of the game is wonderful, the voice acting is great, everything just kind of hits. There's a ton of game modes to play. There's the classic arcade mode, there's challenges, there's multiplayer combat, there's unlockable characters with different abilities, there's all the classic Contra weapons. Like, it hits every single note you would want a Contra game to hit. And yes, it's difficult. It is difficult as hell. It's exactly what it should be. It's fantastic. I am having so much fun with this one. And legit, this is the first code I've ever gotten from Konami, so I'm a little bit on cloud 9 because of that. But that does not change the fact that this game is a ton of fun. Now, I know there's been some kind of bellyaching about the game from some folks online, but for me, it doesn't miss. I really enjoy it. The price tag for it is $39.99, and there is going to be a physical release for it. I'm pretty sure Limited Run is doing one, but if you're looking to get this game now, digitally, you can walk out the door with it for $40. All right, I'm calling it right now. Pepper Grinder is probably going to be my game of the year, so take note of this when December rolls around and I do my game of the year countdown. Pepper Grinder will be in the top 10, if not number 1. I can't remember a time that I have been more eagerly anticipating an independent game release than Pepper Grinder. When I first saw the trailer for it, immediately I thought of Drill Dozer. And I think a lot of people did because, I mean, it's a game featuring a drill. You're going to go in that direction. But I'm telling you right now, this is nothing like Drill Dozer whatsoever. This is one of the most clever physics-based platformers I have ever seen. The gameplay is incredible. The music is wonderful. The look of the game is magnificent. And there is such a deep variety to every single level you go into that you can't help but be amazed at the love, care, and craftsmanship that went into each and every pixel of this title. There are different weapons you're able to get to use as you go through the game that is going to make the gameplay a little bit differently. Like you're seeing here, I'm picking up a Gatling gun and firing it with my drill. But you're also going to be able to use your drill to launch yourself through the air, to attack different enemies, to move your way through the level, to find hidden things. It's a smorgasbord of unbelievable gameplay experiences, of incredible design decisions, and just phenomenal storytelling and wonderful independent game development. This is, I'm talking constantly about this game. This is something that I've been so excited to play. And when the demo got released, I immediately downloaded it. I played it for 45 seconds before I turned it off because I said, yes, I am instantly buying this game. It's that good. It is one of my favorite gameplay experiences I have ever had. Devolver absolutely crushed it. Pepper Grinder is $14.99. I would have happily paid $50 for this game.
There you have it, my friends, 10 fantastic eShop hidden gems that I think you should be checking out right now. I love all these games that I have picked out today. I think there's something offered here for everybody. I think there is a really good mix of styles, a really good mix of challenges, and some really, really fun games here featured. Let me know in the comments down below what game looks most interesting to you. As always, let me know if there are any games that you think I should be checking out on the Switch eShop because I would love to look at it sometime down the road. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out the playlist on screen right now featuring every eShop Hidden Gems video I have done. Been doing this for now about 4 years, so there's a lot of games featured. And yeah, maybe some are a little bit more hidden than others, but there's definitely some classic games on here that you should definitely be checking out. If you really dig the channel, consider becoming a channel member or a Patreon supporter. Links will be in the description down below or on screen right now as well. And until next time, folks, remember to play more games, stay square, and take care. I'll talk to you soon.